This is 98.3 FM, Outbreak FM. David Morgan here. It's 6:02 a.m. on day 3 of the outbreak. The sun is rising on a city that's learning to survive. Sarah and I got 5 hours of sleep last night. First real rest in 72 hours. We're still exhausted but functional. The coffee maker is working on generator power that we have for another 30 hours. After that, we transition permanently to solar-only operation with limited broadcast windows. But right now, we're on air. We're here. And if you're listening, you survived another night. That's 3 nights. 72 hours. You're in the survivor category now, not lucky. Not temporarily alive. A survivor. 6:09 a.m. Sarah's reviewing overnight reports. The second night was quieter than the first. We documented 19 major incidents compared to 37 the previous night. Infected activity is decreasing as their numbers spread across larger territory, and degradation affects the oldest infected. The day 1 infected are now at 48-hour mark. Dr. Chun's timeline predicted they'd be at 50% functionality by now. Reports confirm this. Observers describe day 1 infected as slower and less coordinated compared to fresh infected. They're still dangerous, but noticeably impaired. Time is our ally. The survivor count this morning, 137,000. We lost 3,000 overnight. That's 2% casualties. Compare that to 25% casualties on day 1 and 3% on day 2. The death rate is declining. Not because infected are less deadly, but because we're getting better at not dying. Better defenses, better tactics, better coordination. Learning curve is steep, but we're climbing it. Every day we survive, we get better at surviving the next day. 6:23 a.m. Captain Martinez is broadcasting morning status from both safe zones. Northside Community Center, 2,068 people. Sports Complex, 2,014 people. Combined protected population, 4,082 civilians under National Guard defense. Both facilities made it through the night without major incidents. The sortie operation at Sports Complex successfully dispersed the infected hive. No reformation overnight. The perimeters are secure. Food supplies are adequate for 7 days at current rationing. Water is being trucked in from emergency reserves. Medical care is available. The safe zones are functioning. Martinez is announcing convoy operations resume today. They'll run 3 convoys between noon and 4 p.m. Goal is to evacuate another 2,000 civilians from scattered positions to safe zones. If successful, they'll reach 6,000 protected population by nightfall. That's substantial infrastructure. 6,000 organized people with military defense and centralized resources. That's not just survival. That's foundation for recovery. That's the seed of whatever comes after this crisis ends. 6:39 a.m. Dr. Chun is calling in with morning research update. He's been awake for 36 consecutive hours, working on prion research. He's beyond exhausted, but he's made breakthrough. I've isolated the prion structure. It's synthetic. Not naturally occurring. This wasn't random mutation. This was engineered. The protein folding patterns are too precise. Too optimized for rapid transmission and neurological targeting. Someone created this. Whether it was released intentionally or escaped from laboratory, I can't determine. But this is artificial pathogen, biological weapon, or research accident. Either way, it's not natural. This changes our understanding of the outbreak. Not random disease, not environmental contamination. Deliberate creation by humans. Someone made this. Someone created pathogen that killed 60% of humanity in 72 hours. The implications are staggering. If it's weapon, who deployed it and why? If it's accident, what laboratory was researching something this dangerous? And most importantly, if it was engineered, might there be engineered countermeasure? Cure that was developed alongside weapon? It's thin hope, but it's more hope than we had 5 minutes ago. 6:54 a.m. The Eastside community is broadcasting morning status. They absorbed the Riverside survivors yesterday, integrated them fully. Marcus Webb has been appointed co-leader alongside Eastside's original commander, Patricia Vance. Combined population, 44 people. They defended successfully through the night. 2 small infected groups engaged and destroyed. 0 casualties among defenders. They're proving that integration of refugee populations strengthens communities rather than weakening them. The Riverside survivors brought skills, weapons, experience. They're assets, not burdens. Communities that accept refugees gain strength. Communities that refuse lose potential allies. Webb and Vance are broadcasting joint statement. Eastside welcomes any organized survivor groups looking to consolidate. We have space for 50 additional people. We have defense capacity. We have food for 2 weeks. If you're in small group that's struggling, if you're isolated and scared, consider joining larger community. Combined, we're stronger. Contact us on this frequency. Eastside community out. It's recruitment message. But it's also pragmatic survival strategy. Larger communities survive better than small ones. 50 people can maintain continuous perimeter defense. Can run supply operations with proper security. Can specialize labor. Can absorb casualties without collapsing. The Eastside-Riverside merger creates template for other consolidations. Communities joining together instead of competing. Cooperation over conflict. That's how we rebuild. 7:11 a.m. Sarah's monitoring the downtown trading post. They're opening at 9 a.m. as scheduled. Market operator is broadcasting inventory available today. We have ammunition, canned food, medical supplies, batteries, water purification tablets, hand tools. We're buying same categories plus firearms, gasoline, propane, solar equipment. Market hours 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Armed security. Neutral ground. All survivor groups welcome. Violence results in permanent ban. See you at 9. The market is becoming economic hub for Survivor Network. Communities trade surplus for needs. Ammunition flows to groups that can use it. Food flows to groups that are starving. Medical supplies flow to groups with injured. It's efficient distribution without central planning. Market prices signal scarcity. High prices for ammunition mean everyone needs weapons. Low prices for food mean food is relatively abundant. The market aggregates information about supply and demand across entire Survivor Network. It's self-organizing system that emerges naturally from human nature. We're economic animals. Even during apocalypse, we trade. 7:29 a.m. Power status update. Our generator has 28 hours of fuel remaining. Tomorrow morning we'll run out during broadcast. We'll finish morning session and then we're solar dependent. The battery banks charge during day from roof panels. We'll have enough power for 4 hours morning broadcast and 4 hours evening broadcast. 8 hours daily down from 24. It's significant reduction, but it's sustainable indefinitely, as long as equipment holds and sun shines. We're accepting the limitation, adapting to resource constraints. That's survival mindset. Work with what you have instead of lamenting what you lost. Sarah's preparing announcement of new schedule. Starting tomorrow, day 4, we broadcast 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Off-air 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. The gaps will require survivors to be self-sufficient for longer periods. But the alternative is going permanently dark when generator fuel depletes. Reduced schedule is better than no schedule. We've made our choice. We're transparent about it. People need to know what to expect. 7:47 a.m. We're getting reports of organized infected hunting parties. Multiple observers describe groups of 10 to 20 infected moving together through neighborhoods. Not random wandering, coordinated movement with apparent purpose. They're checking buildings, testing doors, searching systematically. Dr. Chun has theory. It's not intelligence. It's instinct shaped by reinforcement. Infected that search buildings find prey occasionally. that behavior gets rewarded. Infected that wander randomly find prey less often. Over 3 days, the infected population is being filtered. The successful hunters remain active. The unsuccessful get destroyed or starve from lack of feeding. What we're seeing is behavioral evolution through natural selection compressed into 72 hours. If Dr. Chun is right, the infected are adapting to survivor tactics faster than we anticipated. They're not learning consciously, but the surviving infected are the ones with effective hunting strategies. That means we need to counter-adapt. Change our patterns, stop being predictable. Vary our hiding locations, randomize our movements. Stay ahead of evolutionary pressure, selecting for infected that are better at finding us. It's arms race between human intelligence and viral behavioral filtering. We have advantage of consciousness. They have advantage of numbers. Both sides adapt. Winner isn't determined yet. 8:04 a.m. Sarah just got message from her parents at the farmhouse. They're expanding their compound. 10 families now. 62 people total. They've cleared infected from 5-mile radius around their position, planted crops, established livestock, dug wells, built defenses. They're creating sustainable settlement in a rural area with low infected density. They're inviting other survivors to join them. Capacity for 100 additional people. It's model for rural reconstruction. Cities are death traps long term. Too many infected. Too much contamination. Too little food production capacity. Rural areas are future. Open land for farming. Low density allows easier clearing of infected. Natural resources. The survivors who make it to rural areas and establish farms will be the ones who rebuild civilization after crisis passes. Sarah's crying again, not from fear this time. From pride. Her parents survived and they're helping others survive. They're building something permanent, something good. In the middle of apocalypse, they're creating hope. That's powerful. That's the human spirit refusing to surrender. Sarah wants to broadcast their location to help others reach them. But broadcasting location means infected might hear. Might attract raiders looking to take what they've built. It's security risk. But helping others is worth risk. She's making the call to broadcast. Her parents agreed. They'd rather help people and face the risks than stay hidden and safe. 8:22 a.m. And if you're listening in the western region, if you're struggling to survive in urban environment, there's option. Farmhouse compound 60 miles west on Highway 14. Sarah's parents are there. 10 families, 62 people. They're accepting survivors who can contribute to community. Farmers, builders, defenders, medical personnel. Anyone willing to work and defend. They have food, water, land, safety. If you can reach them, they'll take you in. Broadcast on CB Channel 19 when you're 5 miles out. They'll guide you in safely. It's hope. Real tangible refuge for people who can make the journey. Stay tuned to this frequency. We're here, we're helping. We're connecting survivors to resources. That's our purpose. 8:37 a.m. The National Guard is reporting major development. They've established contact with military units in adjacent regions. The governor is alive and coordinating from secure location. State government is functional. They're organizing large-scale response. National Guard units from unaffected areas are being deployed to affected cities. Heavy equipment, ammunition, medical supplies, food. They're mobilizing resources that survived the initial outbreak. Help is coming, not immediately. Not today or tomorrow. But within a week, state-level coordination will reach us. Military relief will arrive. We're not permanently abandoned. We're temporarily isolated. There's difference. Temporary isolation can be survived. Permanent abandonment would be death sentence. This information changes planning timeline. We need to survive 9 more days until infected degrade below critical threat. Help arrives in 7 days. That's overlap. We'll have military reinforcement before crisis peak passes. That improves survival odds dramatically. Communities that hold out for 7 days will have military support for the final push. It's game changer. It's the first genuinely good news since Outbreak started. 8:54 a.m. Sarah's fielding calls from isolated survivors asking how to reach safe zones or farmhouse compound. The routes are dangerous, multiple miles through infected territory. We're providing tactical guidance. Travel in groups of minimum 4 people. Move during daylight between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. when infected activity is lowest. Avoid main roads where infected concentrate. Carry weapons and use them only when necessary because noise attracts more infected. Bring 3 days food and water in case you need to shelter during journey. Have fallback plan if route is blocked. It's deadly advice. People will die following it. But people will die staying where they are too. At least traveling gives chance of reaching safety. Staying in isolated position guarantees eventual death when supplies run out or infected find you. We're helping people make informed choices. Providing information, not making decisions for them. They're adults. They assess their own situations. They choose their own risks. We just make sure they have accurate information to base those choices on. 9:11 a.m. The downtown trading post opened 15 minutes ago. Sarah's monitoring market radio. It's busy. 20 groups trading simultaneously. Prices are stabilizing. Market operator is broadcasting current rates. 1 box ammunition equals 4 cans food. 1 medical kit equals 8 cans food. 1 gallon gasoline equals 3 cans food. 1 working firearm equals 40 cans food. Food remains base currency. Everything converts to food value. It's rational when food is survival necessity. You can't eat ammunition, but ammunition gets food by enabling hunting and defense. Interesting development. Labor is being traded. Groups offering guard services in exchange for food. Others offering medical care, mechanical repair, construction skills. The service economy is emerging alongside goods economy. Communities with surplus labor trade work for goods. Communities with surplus goods trade goods for work. It's division of labor developing spontaneously. Specialization and trade. Economic sophistication increasing daily even without institutional framework. Humans are wired for commerce. Give us any situation and we'll create markets. 9:29 a.m. Dr. Chun is broadcasting warning about water contamination. Municipal water treatment has been offline for 48 hours. Sewage systems are failing. Contamination is entering water table. Any water from wells or surface sources needs treatment. Boiling for minimum 5 minutes. Chemical purification with iodine or chlorine. Filtration through ceramic or carbon filters. Untreated water carries high disease risk. Cholera, dysentery, typhoid, giardia. We survived infected outbreak. We can't lose survivors to waterborne illness from drinking contaminated water. He's also warning about food spoilage. Power failures mean refrigeration failed. Any meat or dairy that's been unrefrigerated for more than 6 hours is unsafe. Canned goods are safe indefinitely. Dry goods like rice and pasta are safe. Fresh produce is safe for days, but animal products spoil rapidly. Eating spoiled food causes food poisoning, causes dehydration, weakens immune system, makes you vulnerable to infection. Survival requires maintaining health. Health requires safe food and water. These basics matter more than weapon skills or tactics. 9:47 a.m. Marcus Webb is broadcasting from East Side. They're planning major supply operation. Target is a commercial distribution warehouse 5 miles south. Large facility with weeks of supplies for their entire community. But it's deep in infected territory. High risk, high reward. They're organizing 20-person expedition. Best fighters, best weapons. Detailed planning, fallback positions. They launch at noon when infected activity is minimal. Estimated return by 4 p.m. before evening activity increase. They're asking other communities to monitor radio and provide support if possible. It's coordinated operation. Professional planning. They learn from Riverside's fall. They're not repeating mistakes. Vance is describing the plan. 20 personnel in 4 vehicles. Route planned with 2 fallback options. We've scouted the warehouse yesterday. Minimal infected presence. We'll enter from North Loading Dock. Load supplies in under 30 minutes. Extract south exit. If primary route is blocked, we have alternates. If vehicles are disabled, we have foot routes to defended positions. We've planned for failures. We're prepared for contingencies. This is calculated risk. We believe odds favor success. But if you don't hear from us by 1700 hours, assume we're lost. East Side Out. It's somber but realistic. They acknowledge they might fail. They're not pretending success is guaranteed. That's mature assessment. That's the kind of thinking that prevents reckless optimism from getting people killed. Hope for success. Plan for failure. That's survival wisdom. 10:04 a.m. We're approaching 4 hours on air. Sarah and I are settling into new rhythm. We're rested enough to think clearly. The exhaustion is still there, but it's manageable instead of debilitating. We're learning to function in degraded state. Operating at 70% capacity continuously instead of oscillating between 100% and 0%. It's sustainable. And sustainability matters more than peak performance when crisis is measured in weeks instead of hours. The city outside is transforming. 3 days ago, it was modern metropolitan area. Now it's post-apocalyptic landscape with pockets of organization in sea of chaos. The safe zones are islands of order. The defended communities are fortresses. The trading posts are neutral ground. The infected hives are dead zones to avoid. Everyone is learning the new geography. Learning which areas are controlled by whom, where it's safe to travel, where it's certain death. Mental maps are being redrawn. Territory is being divided between living and dead. We're establishing new borders, new rules. New civilization built on ruins of old one. 10:19 a.m. Sarah's announcing our schedule change starting tomorrow. Beginning day 4. Outbreak FM will broadcast 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. daily. We'll be off air 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. This change is necessary due to power limitations. Our generator fuel is nearly depleted. We're transitioning to solar power, which limits broadcast hours. We're not abandoning you. We're adapting to resource constraints. Check back at 6 a.m. and 2 p.m. daily. We'll be here. We'll provide information. We'll coordinate survivors. But we can't be here 24 hours anymore. We're asking you to be self-sufficient during off-air hours. Make decisions. Help each other. Survive independently. We'll support you when we're on air. Outbreak FM out. It's a difficult announcement. We're reducing availability when people need us most. But it's necessary. We survive by adapting to reality. Reality is limited power. We adapt by reducing consumption. Simple as that. The survivors will adapt too. They'll learn to rely on themselves during gaps. They'll become more self-sufficient. Maybe that's good. Maybe dependence on central authority is weakness. Maybe distributed self-reliance is stronger model. We'll see. 10:35 a.m. We're signing off for 4-hour break. Batteries need to recharge from solar panels. We need to rest, eat, prepare for afternoon session. We'll be back at 2 p.m. with updates on web supply run and convoy operations and whatever else develops. Stay safe during the gap. Defend your positions. Stay quiet, stay hidden. We'll talk to you at 2 p.m. This is Outbreak FM. David Morgan and Sarah Chun. Off air until 1400 hours. Part 2. Midday operations 2:03 p.m. This is 98.3 FM, Outbreak FM. David Morgan back on air. Sarah and I got 4 hours of rest during the break. We ate, slept briefly, checked equipment. Our battery banks are charged to 90% from solar collection. We're good for 4 hours of broadcast. Maybe 5 if we're conservative with power usage. The afternoon session begins now. And there's a lot to report from the morning gap. 2:09 p.m. Marcus Webb's supply run to the distribution warehouse was successful. All 20 personnel returned safely. No casualties, no infections. They extracted 2 trucks full of supplies, canned food, bottled water, medical supplies, batteries, hardware, fuel, everything they needed. The warehouse was lightly defended by infected, maybe 30 in the entire facility. The team cleared them methodically. Loaded supplies without incident, extracted without contact with large infected groups. It's textbook success. Proof that proper planning and execution beat superior numbers. The East Side community is now supplied for a month. They can focus on defense and consolidation instead of desperate supply runs. Webb is broadcasting lessons learned. Success factors were proper reconnaissance, detailed planning, adequate force, good timing, and discipline during execution. We scouted the target. We planned the operation. We brought enough people. We moved during low infected activity hours. We maintained fire discipline and operational security. Every decision was calculated. Every risk was assessed. That's why we succeeded when others fail. Plan your operations. Don't improvise. Don't hope for luck. Make your own luck through preparation. It's good guidance. The survivor communities that plan carefully succeed. The ones that improvise desperately fail. We're past the initial chaos. We're in phase where quality of planning determines outcomes. The organized survive. The disorganized die. It's harsh, but it's true. 3 days is enough time to separate competent survivors from lucky ones. Luck runs out. Competence endures. 2:27 p.m. The National Guard convoys ran 3 successful operations today. First convoy at noon. 470 civilians evacuated. Second convoy at 1 p.m. 520 civilians evacuated. Third convoy at 3 p.m. is in progress now. Estimated 500 capacity. If successful, total evacuated today will be 1,500. Combined with existing safe zone populations, we'll have 5,500 people in military protected facilities by tonight. That's 4% of remaining survivor population. Not majority, but substantial. And more importantly, it's centralized population that can be organized, defended, and used as foundation for larger recovery operations. Captain Martinez is reporting both safe zones are functioning smoothly. Food rationing is working. Water is adequate. Medical care is meeting needs. Morale is improving as people realize they're genuinely safe. The psychological transition from terror to security takes days. People who evacuated yesterday are still processing trauma. But people who arrived on day 1 are starting to relax, starting to plan beyond immediate survival. Talking about jobs, education, governance, the future. When people start thinking about future, that's sign they believe they have future. That's hope becoming real. 2:44 p.m. Dr. Chun is broadcasting update on infected degradation. The day 1 infected are now at 72 hours. They're showing severe impairment. Motor function reduced to maybe 40% of fresh infected. Movement is slow. Coordination is poor. They're easy to avoid and easy to kill. The day 2 infected are at 48 hours showing mild impairment. Day 3 infected are at 24 hours showing minimal impairment. The degradation timeline is holding. Every day that passes makes the oldest infected less dangerous. Shiun has refined his projections. By day 7, day 1 infected will be essentially immobile, unable to hunt, unable to attack. They'll be shambling wrecks that any competent defender can eliminate safely. By day 10, even day 4 infected will be significantly degraded. By day 14, the entire infected population will be operating at reduced capacity. This is our advantage. Time destroys our enemy. We just have to survive long enough for time to do its work. 14 days, 2 weeks. Half of that is already passed. 7 days remaining until infected threat becomes manageable. Military help arrives in 6 days. The timelines are converging favorably. If we can hold out 6 more days, we'll have military support. If we can hold out 7 more days, the infected become easy targets. The crisis has defined endpoint. It's not infinite, it's finite. Knowing there's end makes endurance possible. 3:02 p.m. Sarah's monitoring communications between survivor communities. The network is growing. She's tracking 37 organized communities with formal leadership and defense structures. Combined population approximately 8,000 people in defended positions outside safe zones. They're coordinating supply runs, sharing intelligence, trading resources, creating distributed survival network. It's functioning society without government, self-organizing, self-regulating, self-defending. It's proof that humans don't need institutional authority to cooperate. We cooperate naturally when incentives align. Right now, everyone's incentive is survival. Cooperation increases survival odds. Therefore, cooperation happens spontaneously. Some communities are proposing formal alliance, creating treaty structure, mutual defense agreements, coordinated operations, shared resources. It's nascent government forming from bottom up, not imposed from top down. Communities recognizing that alliance provides benefits beyond individual capability. Pooled resources, combined military strength, larger trade network, better information sharing. The communities that join alliances will survive better than isolated ones. We're watching social organization emerge in real time. It's fascinating, even while terrifying. 3:19 p.m. The downtown trading post is having busiest day yet. 40 groups trading. Market operator is reporting volume 5 times normal. Prices are adjusting. Ammunition getting expensive as people realize they need weapons. Food getting cheaper as supply runs bring in canned goods. Medical supplies holding steady value. Gasoline becoming very valuable as vehicles enable mobility. The market is working. Supply and demand balancing. Resources flowing to where they're most needed. It's efficient distribution without central planning. Market forces are stronger than government edicts. People trade naturally. They find equilibrium through negotiation. That's economic resilience. New development. The market is offering credit. Groups can borrow goods and repay later. Interest rates are steep. 1 can food borrowed today costs 2 cans repaid in a week. But credit exists. That means people believe in future. You don't lend with expectation of repayment if you think everyone dies tomorrow. Credit is expression of hope. Belief that there will be tomorrow and next week and next month. The emergence of credit markets means survivors are psychologically transitioning from crisis mentality to recovery mentality. That's significant cultural shift. 3:37 p.m. We're getting reports of successful infected clearing operations. Multiple communities are conducting offensive sweeps of nearby areas, killing degraded day 1 infected. Clearing buildings, expanding safe territory. They're not just defending anymore. They're attacking, reclaiming ground from infected. It's shift from reactive to proactive posture. From survival to recovery. From accepting infected control to challenging it. 1 community cleared 3 city blocks this morning. Killed 47 infected. 0 casualties among clearing team. They now control territory instead of just defending position. They're expanding agricultural space, planting gardens, establishing secure trade routes to other communities. They're building instead of just surviving. That psychological threshold being crossed. When you start building, you've committed to future. You've accepted that life continues past crisis. That's victory. Not military victory. Psychological victory that enables everything else. 3:54 p.m. Sarah just received update from her parents' farmhouse compound. They've grown to 13 families. 81 people. They're establishing formal governance. Elected council, work rotations, resource management, dispute resolution system. They're creating micro-government, democratic, practical, focused on survival but also on quality of life. They're not just enduring, they're living, growing food, teaching children, maintaining culture. They're proving that humanity continues even during apocalypse, that we're more than just survivors. We're civilization. And civilization persists because we choose to maintain it, even when everything is falling apart. Her parents are inviting more survivors. Current capacity for 50 additional people. They're specifically requesting families with children, teachers, doctors, engineers, farmers, people who can contribute to long-term community development. They're selecting for sustainability, building population with balanced skills. It's colony founding in real time. Intentional community designed for survival and eventual prosperity. If this compound succeeds, it becomes model for hundreds of other settlements. Rural reconstruction starts with successful examples. This could be one. 4:11 p.m., Captain Martinez is broadcasting important announcement. The state government is organizing massive supply distribution. Military convoys will arrive in 6 days with food, water, medical supplies, fuel, ammunition, construction materials. Enough supplies to sustain 50,000 people for 1 month. The convoys will distribute to safe zones and organized communities. Registration required. Communities need to report location, population, needs via military radio frequencies. Registration deadline is day 5. Communities that don't register won't receive supplies. This is game changer. 50,000 people supplied for 1 month means the crisis becomes manageable. It means communities don't have to risk supply runs, don't have to fight for resources. They can focus on defense and consolidation while military provides logistics. It's exactly what's needed. But it also creates dependency. Communities become reliant on military supplies. That's both good and bad. Good because it keeps people alive. Bad because it creates vulnerability if supplies stop. We need to maintain independent supply capacity while accepting military aid. Diversified supply chains are resilient supply chains. 4:29 p.m. We're receiving reports of conflict between survivor groups. 2 communities fighting over warehouse that both groups need. Shooting at each other. People dying from human conflict instead of infected attacks. It's preventable tragedy. There's enough supplies scattered across the city for everyone if we cooperate. But territorial instincts and fear create conflict. Groups see each other as competitors instead of potential allies. They fight over resources when cooperation would give both groups more than they'd get through conflict. Sarah's broadcasting appeal to any communities in conflict. You're killing each other over resources that won't matter if infected overrun you while you're fighting. You're stronger together than apart. The infected are enemy. Other survivors are potential allies. Trade instead of fighting. Negotiate instead of shooting. Form alliances instead of making enemies. We have common threat. We should have common response. Please, stop killing each other. We've lost enough people to infected. Let's not lose more to ourselves. It's emotional plea. It probably won't work. Humans are tribal. We see outsiders as threats. It's evolutionary programming, but maybe some groups will hear. Maybe some will choose cooperation. Maybe we can reduce human versus human violence, even if we can't eliminate it. Every life saved from unnecessary conflict is victory. 4:47 p.m. Dr. Chun is reporting on medical challenges in safe zones. Chronic disease is becoming problem. Diabetics without insulin. Cardiac patients without medications. Asthmatics without inhalers. People with conditions that require modern medicine to manage. The medications are running out. People are dying from treatable conditions because pharmaceutical supply chain collapsed. It's slower death than infected attack, but it's just as final. Chun is trying to organize medication sharing. Communities with surplus medications trading with communities that need them. The market is helping, but there's fundamental supply problem. We're consuming pharmaceutical stocks without manufacturing new supplies. Eventually, medications run out. Then people with chronic conditions die unless pharmaceutical production restarts. That requires functional industrial base, functioning society. We're months away from that at minimum. People will die waiting. Chun knows it. He's doing what he can. But he can't manufacture insulin or cardiac medications with equipment at hand. Some problems require industrial civilization to solve. And industrial civilization is collapsed. 5:04 p.m., the third convoy returned safely. 493 civilians evacuated. Total evacuated today, 1,483, close to target. Combined safe zone population, 5,391 people. The infrastructure is building. The safe zones are becoming mini-cities. Organized, defended, supplied. They're creating islands of stability in sea of chaos, and they're growing. Every day, more people reach safety. Every day, the safe zones become stronger. Eventually, if this continues, the safe zones might absorb majority of survivor population. Centralize everyone in few defended locations instead of scattered across dangerous territory. That's one vision of recovery. Concentrated population in fortified positions. But there's alternative vision. Distributed rural settlements like Sarah's parents' farmhouse. Decentralized, self-sufficient. Low. Density reduces disease risk and resource competition. Both models have advantages. Concentrated populations provide security and efficiency. Distributed populations provide resilience and sustainability. Probably we need both. Urban safe zones for immediate security. Rural settlements for long-term sustainability. Different survival strategies for different populations and different situations. 5:22 p.m. We're getting philosophical question from listener named Amanda. She asks, when does this become normal? When do we stop calling it apocalypse and start calling it just life? It's a profound question. At what point does extraordinary crisis become ordinary existence? When does survival mode transition to living mode? Sarah's thinking about it before answering. Maybe it becomes normal when we stop being surprised by it. When infected attacks don't shock us anymore. When scavenging for food is routine instead of desperate. When defending our homes is daily chore instead of heroic action. Maybe normal is just what we get used to. Maybe 3 days from now, or 3 weeks or 3 months, this will be normal. We'll forget what life was like before. This will be how life is, and that's both sad and necessary. Sad because we're losing the world we knew. Necessary because we can't function in permanent crisis mode. We have to normalize the nightmare to survive it. It's good answer, maybe the only answer. Normal is relative. What shocks us today becomes routine tomorrow. Humans adapt. We're incredibly adaptable. That's our greatest survival trait. We can live in almost any environment. Endure almost any hardship. Normalize almost any horror. That's why we survive when other species don't. We don't need environment to be perfect. We adapt ourselves to environment. That's happening now. We're adapting to apocalypse. Eventually, it won't be apocalypse anymore. It'll just be Tuesday. 5:39 p.m. Marcus Webb is broadcasting evening defense plans from East Side. They're implementing new tactics based on degraded, infected behavior. Instead of static perimeter defense, they're running mobile patrols. Small teams moving through secured territory. Killing degraded infected before they accumulate. Proactive clearing instead of reactive defense. It's shift in strategy made possible by infected degradation. When infected were at full strength, mobile patrols would be suicide. Now, with day 1 infected at 40% functionality, mobile teams can safely engage and eliminate them. The balance is shifting. Humans are becoming predators. Infected are becoming prey. That's profound tactical change. Webb is sharing the patrol doctrine, 4-person teams. 2 shooters, 2 spotters. Patrol assigned sectors twice daily. Engage isolated infected up to 3 simultaneously. Avoid groups of 4 or more. Withdraw if outnumbered. Report locations of large infected concentrations for future clearing operations. Mission is safe territory expansion and infected reduction. Not heroic last stands. We're systematically reducing infected presence in our controlled areas. This is extermination operation, not defense. We're attacking. It's aggressive. It's confident. It's the right strategy at right time. If they'd tried this on day 1, they'd have been slaughtered. Now, with infected degraded and defenders experienced, it works. Timing is everything. Right tactics at wrong time fail. Right tactics at right time succeed. Webb has good instincts for when transitions are appropriate. 5:57 p.m. Sarah's monitoring sunset timing. Darkness in 48 minutes. We're approaching end of day 3. 72 hours survived. We'll face third night tonight. But it'll be quieter than previous nights. Infected numbers are down. Infected capability is down. Defender skill is up. Defensive infrastructure is up. The balance continues shifting in our favor. Not dramatically, not overnight transformation, but steady incremental improvement. Each night is slightly less dangerous than previous. Each dawn sees slightly fewer casualties. We're winning slowly, grinding victory through attrition. The infected lose capability daily. We gain capability daily. Eventually, the curves cross, and we dominate. We're maybe halfway to that crossover point. 6:04 p.m. We're approaching end of afternoon broadcast session. Battery power is at 40%. We could broadcast another 2 hours, but we're conserving power for tomorrow morning. Better to end sessions with buffer than drain batteries completely. We're learning resource management. Operating sustainably instead of maximally. It's mindset shift. From using everything available to preserving what we have for future need. From consumption to conservation. That's maturity. That's long-term thinking. That's how we survive weeks and months and years instead of just days. Sarah's preparing evening sign-off. I'm watching the city prepare for third night. Communities reinforcing defenses. Guards taking positions. Weapons loaded. Everyone who survived 2 nights knows what's coming. They're ready. Not relaxed, but competent. Functional fear instead of paralyzing terror. They'll defend. They'll survive. They'll see fourth dawn. And each dawn is victory. Each morning proves survival is possible. Each day adds to evidence that we can endure this. Eventually, evidence becomes confidence. Confidence becomes resilience. Resilience becomes recovery. We're on that path. Walking it slowly. But walking it. 6:17 p.m. We're signing off for the night. Next broadcast at 6 a.m. tomorrow, day 4. 12 hours from now. Long gap. You'll be on your own through the night and morning. We trust you to survive without us. You've proven you can. You've made it 72 hours. You've adapted. You've learned. You're survivors now. Not civilians hoping for rescue. Survivors taking responsibility for your own survival. That's what 3 days does. Changes you from dependent to independent. From victim to agent. We're proud of you. All 137,000 of you who made it to day 3. You're winning. Keep winning. See you at dawn. This is Outbreak FM. David Morgan and Sarah Chun. Off air until 0600 hours tomorrow. Part 3. The third night, 6:24 p.m. This is 98.3 FM. Outbreak FM. David Morgan here with unscheduled emergency broadcast. We're back on air running on reserve battery power. Something significant is happening, and survivors need to know. At 6:19 p.m., 5 minutes after we signed off, Captain Martinez broadcast urgent alert. Large infected force is moving towards sports complex safe zone. Estimated 800 to 1,000 infected. Coordinated movement. Direct approach. It's organized assault. Not random wandering. Not scattered attacks. Organized assault by massive force. Sarah's back at monitoring station. We're tracking National Guard communications. Martinez has called all personnel to defensive positions. They're preparing for largest engagement since Outbreak began. 1,000 infected against 50 National Guard troops defending 2,100 civilians. The math is grim, 20 infected per defender. Even with hardened positions and overlapping fields of fire, those are overwhelming odds. If the assault is sustained, if infected press hard, the perimeter might fail. If perimeter fails, 2,100 people die. It's catastrophic potential. 6:31 p.m. The infected force is 1 mile from sports complex, moving steadily. Martinez is describing their approach. They're not shambling randomly, they're moving together. Same direction, same pace, like herd migration. It's coordinated without being intelligent. I don't know how to explain it. They're organized but not conscious. It's disturbing. We're preparing to engage at 500 meters. Heavy weapons. Create kill zone before they reach perimeter. We have ammunition for sustained engagement, but 1,000 is a lot. If we don't break their attack, this could get bad. The safe zone is evacuating non-combat personnel to interior buildings, creating fallback positions, preparing for worst case. If perimeter fails, they'll retreat to hardened structures and defend those. Last stand positions. Civilians are being armed with whatever weapons are available. Everyone who can hold a rifle is getting one. Even children old enough to shoot. Because if infected breach perimeter, everyone fights. There's no evacuation option. No escape, just fight or die. 6:39 p.m. The infected reached 500 meters. National Guard opened fire, heavy machine guns, automatic rifles, overlapping fire zones. Concentrated firepower into dense target formation. The infected are being cut down in massive numbers. Dozens falling per minute, but they're not stopping. They're not breaking, they're walking through the fire. Stepping over their own dead. Keep advancing. No fear, no hesitation. No survival instinct. Just forward movement until brain is destroyed or body is too damaged to function. Martinez is adjusting fire. Concentrate on front ranks. Thin them before they reach wire. 300 meters in closing. All positions, sustained fire. The gunfire is constant, deafening even over radio. Hundreds of rounds per minute. Thousands per minute. The ammunition consumption must be staggering. But they can't conserve ammunition, can't shoot economically. Have to create wall of bullets to stop wall of infected. It's expenditure or annihilation. Easy choice when framed that way. 6:47 p.m., 200 meters. The infected front ranks are decimated, but the mass keeps coming. Martinez estimates they've killed 300 infected. 700 remain. Still advancing, still organized, still relentless. The defenders are beginning to show strain. Radio chatter becoming frantic. Discipline holding, but stress audible in voices. They're fighting hardest battle of their lives. Fighting for their own lives and lives of 2,100 civilians they're protecting. The weight of responsibility plus fear of death creates psychological pressure that breaks people. So far, defenders are holding together. But sustained stress erodes performance. How long can they maintain peak fighting effectiveness? 6:54 p.m., 100 meters. The infected reach the outer wire. They're pushing against it, climbing over it. The wire was designed to slow them. It's working, but not stopping them. They're tangled, stuck, easy targets. Defenders are shooting methodically. Headshots into immobilized infected caught in wire. It's efficient killing, but there are so many. For every infected killed, another climbs over the body. The wire is becoming ramp of corpses. The dead bodies are helping infected cross the barrier. Macabre solution to obstacle. Use your own dead as bridge. It's effective because infected don't care about dead. They're not disturbed by corpses. They walk on them without hesitation. Martinez is calling for focusing fire. Target the ones climbing. Don't let them mass on our side of the wire. Explosives on the ramps. Explosions as grenades detonate. Bodies flying, limbs scattered. But more infected keep coming. The assault is relentless. It's breaking through human defenders through sheer weight of numbers. Quality versus quantity. Skill versus mass. Intelligence versus mindless persistence. Who wins when unstoppable force meets immovable object? We're about to find out. 7:02 p.m. The wire is breached in 3 locations. Infected are through. Hand-to-hand combat at defensive positions. Close quarters fighting. Bayonets, rifle butts. It's desperate melee. Martinez is pulling defenders back to secondary positions. Fall back to building perimeter. Establish new line. Don't let them reach civilians. The soldiers are retreating in order. Covering each other. Maintaining discipline even in chaos. Professional military training showing value. Civilian defenders would have broken, would be running. But National Guard is conducting tactical withdrawal, fighting retreat. Each soldier knows their role, executes it. They're losing ground but maintaining cohesion. 7:09 p.m. The infected pushed through outer perimeter. They control the courtyard between outer wire and buildings. Maybe 200 infected in that space now. The buildings are hardened. Doors are barricaded. Windows are reinforced. But the infected are testing barriers, looking for weakness. The moaning is constant, loud, drawing more infected from surrounding area. The assault force might grow if more infected are attracted to the sound. It could get even worse than it already is. Inside the buildings, civilians are preparing for breach. Makeshift weapons, kitchen knives, axes, baseball bats. They're terrified but determined. They know if defenders fail, they die. No one is coming to rescue them. No cavalry arriving at last minute. They're it. They survive by defending, or they die being overrun. That knowledge creates desperation courage. People fight harder when there's no alternative. When fighting is only option between life and death, people discover strength they didn't know they had. 7:17 p.m. The building perimeter is holding. Defenders inside shooting through reinforced windows and murder holes. Controlled fire. Headshots. They're killing infected methodically. The infected can't breach the hardened doors. Can't climb walls. They're concentrated in kill zone being systematically eliminated. The tide is turning. The assault is being repelled. Not easily. Not cleanly, but definitely. The infected lost momentum when they breached outer perimeter. Now they're stuck. Trapped between outer wire and building perimeter. Being destroyed without ability to advance or retreat. It's slaughter. Necessary slaughter. But slaughter nonetheless. 7:24 p.m. Martinez is reporting infected assault is collapsing. Estimate 400 infected killed in total. 600 fled or dispersed when attack stalled. The remaining infected in the courtyard are being eliminated. Ammunition expenditure is catastrophic. Over 30,000 rounds fired in 37 minutes. Multiple machine gun barrels melted from sustained fire. Grenade stockpile depleted, but they held. The safe zone perimeter is intact. The buildings are secure. 2,100 civilians are safe. Casualties among defenders. 12 National Guard killed in close combat when wire was breached. 8 wounded. But the line held. 50 soldiers minus 12 killed, minus 8 wounded leaves 30 operational. They defended successfully against 1,000 infected, with 30% casualties among defenders. It's Pyrrhic victory. They won, but the cost was severe. 7:31 p.m. The assault is over. The infected that didn't die have dispersed. The sports complex is secure. Martinez is conducting damage assessment. The outer wire is destroyed. We'll need complete replacement. Ammunition stockpile critically depleted. Medical supplies consumed treating wounded. Food storage building damaged by stray fire. They won the battle but lost significant capability. The safe zone is weaker after winning than before being attacked. That's problem. If another assault comes tomorrow, they can't repel it. They need resupply. Need reinforcement. Need time to rebuild defenses. They might not get that time. Martinez is broadcasting request for assistance. This is Sports Complex. We repelled major assault, but took heavy casualties. We need ammunition, medical supplies, barrier materials, and reinforcements. Any organized communities with resources to spare, we're requesting aid. We'll pay market rates or provide services in exchange, but we need resupply urgently. If another assault comes before we restock, we might not hold. Martinez out. It's humble request from military commander to civilian groups. Admission that military needs civilian help. The balance has shifted. The institutions aren't providing for civilians anymore. Civilians are providing for institutions. That's indicator of how much society has changed. Government depends on people, instead of people depending on government. It's bottom-up instead of top-down. It's adaptation to new reality, where formal hierarchy collapsed and informal networks replaced it. 7:48 p.m. Sarah and I are discussing implications of sports complex assault. If organized infected attack forced one safe zone to near breaking point, other positions are vulnerable too. The north side safe zone needs to prepare. The defended communities need to harden positions. The infected demonstrated capability we didn't know they had. Large-scale coordinated movement, sustained assault, tactical persistence. We've been underestimating them, treating them as mindless individuals. But they coordinate at population level. Swarm intelligence without individual intelligence. That's more dangerous than we thought. We need to broadcast warning to all communities. Large infected forces can organize and assault defended positions. Defenses that seem adequate might not be. Communities need to assume they'll face coordinated attack by hundreds of infected. Need to prepare for that scenario. Need ammunition reserves. Need hardened fallback positions. Need evacuation plans. The sports complex survived because they had all those elements. Communities without them will fall if attacked similarly. 8:04 p.m. Multiple communities are responding to Martinez's supply request. East Side community is sending ammunition. Riverside survivors are sending medical supplies. Downtown Trading Post is organizing supply convoy to sports complex tomorrow morning. The survivor network is supporting endangered node. Because if sports complex falls, 2,100 people die and the survivor network loses major infrastructure. Everyone benefits from safe zone surviving. Therefore, everyone contributes to keeping it alive. It's mutual aid. Reciprocal altruism. Insurance network. Help others so others help you when you need it. That's how societies function when formal institutions fail. 8:19 p.m. Dr. Chun is treating wounded at sports complex. 12 dead. 8 wounded. 5 of the wounded will survive. 3 are critical. Probably won't make it through the night. He's doing what he can with limited supplies. But some wounds require surgical capability he doesn't have. Hospital equipment that doesn't exist anymore. People are dying from injuries that would be survivable in functioning medical system. But there is no functioning medical system. There's one exhausted doctor with basic supplies trying to save everyone. He can't. Some will die. He knows it. They know it. Everyone accepts it because accepting reality is necessary for maintaining sanity. One dying soldier asked Chun to record message for family. Chun is broadcasting it per soldier's request. This is Private James Richardson. I'm wounded badly. I probably won't make it. I want my family to know I died protecting civilians. 2,100 people are alive because we held the line. That matters. That's worth dying for. I'm not scared. I did my job. Tell my mom I love her. Tell my sister to stay strong. Tell Dad I made him proud. Richardson out. The transmission ends. Sarah's crying. I'm crying. Everyone listening is probably crying. Private Richardson is 22 years old. He's dying alone in apocalypse. But he's dying with purpose. Protecting others. That's meaning. That's dignity. That's the best any of us can hope for. Death with purpose instead of meaningless death. Richardson achieved that. His death matters. 2,100 people live because he fought. That's legacy worth having. 8:37 p.m. And listen, if you're out there in the darkness, if you're defending your position against infected, if you're scared and tired and wondering if you can hold out one more night, stay strong. We're all in this together. 137,000 of us spread across the region. We're connected by this frequency, united by will to survive. Private Richardson died so others could live. Thousands of others have died protecting their communities, their families, their friends. They're heroes, and you're heroes too. Everyone who defended their home, who protected their family, who fought when you wanted to run. You're all heroes. Stay alive. Stay fighting. We'll be back at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Day 4 begins. Keep surviving. That's all we ask. Outbreak FM out. 8:54 p.m. We're staying on air longer than planned. Battery power is at 15%, but this is important. People need to hear what happened at Sports Complex. Need to understand the threat level. Need to prepare adequately. We'll drain batteries if necessary. We'll recharge tomorrow from solar. But tonight, information matters more than power conservation. We're broadcasting until batteries fail or until there's nothing more to say. Martinez is organizing cleanup at Sports Complex. Hundreds of infected corpses in courtyard. Bodies of 12 fallen defenders. The corpses are disease hazard. Decomposing flesh in enclosed space creates contamination. They need to burn the bodies. All of them, infected and human, mass cremation. It's grim task but necessary. Can't leave hundreds of decomposing bodies where people live. The smoke from cremation will be visible for miles. Might attract more infected, but alternative is worse. Disease kills as surely as infected. Sometimes faster. 9:11 p.m. The cremation has begun. Massive bonfire in courtyard. Bodies burning. The smell must be horrific. Burning flesh and hair and viscera. Chemical stench of accelerants. Smoke column rising into night sky. Martinez reports it's visible from 10 miles away. Glowing orange in darkness. Beacon that announces to everyone watching. Something major happened here. Massive loss of life. Either humans one or infected one. If you're survivor, you want to know which. The smoke is signal. Message to anyone watching. Sports Complex survived, at terrible cost. But survived. 9:27 p.m. We're getting reports that other communities saw the Sports Complex battle from distance. Heard gunfire. Saw fires. Watched from miles away, knowing major engagement was happening, but unable to help. They're calling in now. Expressing support. Offering supplies. Some are asking for details so they can learn tactical lessons. Others are just confirming Sports Complex survived, because if it fell, they need to know the threat level is higher than they thought. The Survivor Network wants information, craves it, needs it to assess their own situations accurately. Sarah's providing tactical analysis. Sports Complex survived because they had hardened positions, adequate ammunition, trained defenders, and fallback plans. Communities without these elements would have fallen to assault of that size. If your position couldn't repel 800 to 1,000 infected in coordinated attack, you need to improve defenses or evacuate to stronger position. Don't assume your current defenses are adequate just because they've worked so far. The infected can organize larger assaults than we've seen before. Prepare for worst case. Hope for best case. But prepare for worst. It's sobering message. Some communities will realize they're not adequately defended. Will need to relocate or improve rapidly. Others will realize they're strong enough but need resupply. Few will be completely comfortable with their defensive posture after hearing what happened tonight. That's good. Comfort creates complacency. Discomfort creates vigilance. Vigilance keeps people alive. 9:44 p.m. Battery power at 8%. We're approaching minimum operating threshold. Soon we'll have to shut down to preserve battery integrity. Before we go, we want to address something. People are asking how long this continues. When does it end? When is it safe? We don't have definitive answer. But we have estimates based on infected degradation rates and military response timelines. Best estimate, 9 more days of high danger. Day 4 through day 12. During this period, infected remain significant threat but declining daily. Safe zones continue evacuating civilians. Rural settlements continue forming. Survivor network continues strengthening. Military supply convoy arrives day 9. Heavy resupply and reinforcement. Day 12 is threshold where infected degradation makes them minimal threat. After day 12, we transition from survival to recovery. From defending to reclaiming. From enduring to rebuilding. 9 days, that's the goal. Survive 9 more days and we're past crisis peak. Military help arrives before that. So realistically, survive 6 days until military reinforcement. Then survive 3 more days with military support until infected degrade below critical threat level. 6 days alone. 3 days supported. 9 days total. You can do 9 days. You've already done 3. 9 is achievable. Count down with us. Day 4 tomorrow. Day 5, day 6, military help. Day 7, 8, 9, support and cleanup. Day 10, 11, 12, infected degraded. Day 13 begins recovery. That's the plan. That's the timeline. That's hope with schedule. 10:04 p.m. Battery at 5%. We're shutting down. We'll be back at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Batteries will recharge overnight from stored solar. We'll have full power for morning session. Tonight you're on your own. Defend your positions. Maintain watches. Stay vigilant. The infected are out there. But they're dying. They're degrading. Every hour makes them weaker. Every hour makes you stronger through experience. Time is your ally. Use it. Private Richardson died tonight, protecting 2,100 people. 12 National Guard soldiers at defending that safe zone. Hundreds of infected died attacking it. Death is everywhere, but so is life, so is courage. So is humanity refusing to surrender. We honor the fallen by continuing their fight. By surviving, by refusing to quit. Richardson didn't quit. The defenders didn't quit. You don't quit. We don't quit. Nobody quits. That's how we win, not through brilliant tactics. Through stubborn refusal to lose. 10:19 p.m. Battery at 3%. Critical threshold. Sarah's shutting down systems. I'm delivering final message for tonight. To everyone listening in darkness, everyone afraid, everyone wondering if dawn comes. It does. Dawn always comes. We've seen 3 dawns since Outbreak started. We'll see 4th tomorrow, and 5th and 6th and 9th and 12th. We'll see all of them because we refuse to die in darkness. We survive until light returns. That's the commitment. That's the promise. However long night lasts, we endure until dawn. See you at 6 a.m., day 4. Military help arrives in 6 days. Infected become manageable in 9 days. You can survive 9 days. You've survived 3. 6 more is nothing. You're already survivors. Now you just keep surviving. That's all. Just keep doing what you've been doing. Don't stop. Don't quit. Don't surrender. Survive. That's the only job. The only requirement. The only victory condition. Survive until dawn. Then survive another day. Then another. Count them down with us. We're in this together. This is Outbreak FM, David Morgan and Sarah Chun, signing off day 3, 72 hours survived. Day 4 in 8 hours, we'll be here, will you? Fight hard. We're counting on you. Every single one of you, 137,000 survivors. You're why we broadcast. You're why this matters. Stay alive for us. We're staying alive for you. Together we survive. Good night. Fight well. See you at dawn. 10:43 p.m. Battery failing. Transmission ending. Outbreak FM off air until Part 4. Morning Reflections. Day 4 Preview. 12:17 a.m. The broadcast station is dark, silent. David and Sarah are asleep in the back room, exhausted. Their 76-hour marathon broadcast finally ended when batteries depleted. Outside the fourth-floor window, the city burns. Scattered fires from sports complex cremation. Distant gunfire from communities defending against night attacks. The third night of apocalypse continues without narration. In the sports complex courtyard, the cremation fire is dying down. 463 infected corpses reduced to ash and bone fragments. 12 National Guard soldiers cremated alongside the infected because there's no way to bury them properly and bodies decompose rapidly in September heat. Captain Martinez stands beside the fire watching smoke rise. He's been awake for 34 hours. He'll stay awake another 12 before allowing himself to rest. Command responsibility. Someone has to stay alert. Someone has to maintain watch while others sleep. That's what leaders do. They sleep last. The wounded are stabilized. 5 will live. 3 died despite Dr. Cheen's efforts. 15 dead total from tonight's engagement. 15 families destroyed. 15 futures erased. But 2,100 people survive who would have died if defenders failed. The mathematics of triage applied at population scale. Sacrifice 15 to save 2,100. Terrible equation. Correct equation. Martinez knows it, accepts it, hates it, but accepts it. At Eastside Community, Marcus Webb conducts midnight perimeter check. The community absorbed Riverside survivors. Grew stronger. They defended successfully through 3 nights. Lost people, learned lessons, improved continuously. Webb walks the perimeter alone, checking barriers, testing sight lines, looking for weaknesses infected might exploit. He doesn't sleep much. Can't. Every time he closes his eyes, he sees Riverside falling. Sees people dying, hears screaming. The trauma is fresh. Will probably never fade. He functions despite it because people depend on him. Because leadership requires functioning even when broken. He'll carry Riverside's fall forever. Use it as motivation to ensure Eastside never falls. That's how trauma converts to purpose. In the farmhouse compound 60 miles west, Sarah's parents sleep peacefully. 81 people safe behind defended perimeter in low infected density rural area. They have food from gardens already planted before outbreak, water from wells, power from solar panels installed last year for sustainability reasons that proved providential during apocalypse. They're proof that preparation matters. That choices made before crisis determine survival during crisis. They weren't preparing for zombie outbreak. They were preparing for economic collapse or natural disaster or personal preference for self-sufficiency. But preparation is fungible. Skills and resources that work for one emergency work for others. They're surviving because they were ready before they needed to be ready. Across the city, 137,000 survivors endure third night. Some in safe zones sleeping securely for first time in days. Others in defended communities maintaining watch rotations. Others isolated and alone hoping infected pass by without noticing them. Others traveling through darkness trying to reach safety before dawn reveals them to infected. Some will survive tonight. Others won't. The difference between survival and death is sometimes luck, sometimes skill, sometimes preparation, sometimes just being in right place at right time or wrong place at wrong time. Randomness plays role. But so does competence. The competent survive more often than incompetent. The prepared survive more often than unprepared. Luck matters, but skill matters more over time. 2:34 a.m. The sports complex is quiet. The fire is embers. The defenders rest in shifts. Civilians sleep cramped in interior rooms, feeling safer than they've felt since Outbreak began. They believe military will protect them. That belief is partially true. Military is protecting them. But military is also vulnerable. Depleted ammunition, damaged defenses, exhausted personnel. The safe zone survived tonight, but might not survive tomorrow if another assault comes. The civilians don't know this. They sleep believing they're safe. That belief allows rest. Rest allows recovery. Sometimes protective ignorance is blessing. Sometimes knowing too much prevents necessary rest. Martinez knows the truth. He's awake calculating ammunition reserves. 32,000 rounds expended tonight. 14,000 rounds remaining. That's enough for maybe one more engagement of similar size. Maybe, if they're efficient. If they don't miss. If infected attack in ways that allow controlled fire instead of desperate spraying. 14,000 rounds against potentially thousands of infected. The math doesn't favor defenders. He needs resupply. Desperately. East Side Community promised ammunition delivery tomorrow. Downtown Trading Post promised supply convoy. Other communities promised support. He's depending on civilian groups to resupply military facility. Role reversal. Institutions depending on individuals instead of individuals depending on institutions. It's strange world now. Strange and dangerous and new. At Northside Community Center, the other safe zone prepares for potential assault. They watched sports complex battle from 6 miles away, heard gunfire, saw fires, realized they could be next. They're improving defenses, adding barriers, positioning weapons, creating interlocking fields of fire. Learning from sports complex near catastrophe, that's adaptation. That's intelligence applied to survival. The communities that learn from others' experiences survive. The ones that ignore warnings die. Northside is learning. They'll probably survive if attacked. Probably. Nothing is certain. But probability favors prepared over unprepared. 3:47 a.m. In the broadcast station, Sarah wakes briefly. Checks equipment out of habit. Batteries charging from rooftop solar panels. Charging rate is good. They'll hit 90% by dawn. Enough for morning broadcast session. She checks the overnight log. No messages, no emergency calls. The radio network is quiet during night hours. People are either fighting or hiding. No time for communication during darkness. Dawn brings radio chatter. People reporting status. Asking questions. Trading information. But night is silent except for occasional distress call from someone being overrun. Those calls are rare now. Most isolated survivors died on day 1 or day 2. The ones still alive learn to be quiet. Learn to hide effectively. The evolutionary pressure selected for survivors who can stay hidden. The ones who couldn't are dead. Sarah thinks about her parents. Safe, 60 miles away. Building community. She could go to them. Could leave the broadcast station. Cross dangerous territory. Reach safety. Live with family instead of risking life daily in infected controlled city. David would understand. Wouldn't blame her. Would probably encourage her to go. But she won't. Can't. 137,000 people depend on this broadcast. Depend on her voice. Her coordination. Her presence. She's as trapped by responsibility as by infected. Trapped by meaning. By purpose. By knowledge that leaving would doom people who need her. That's burden of competence. When you're capable of helping, refusing to help becomes form of killing. Passive killing through inaction. She can't accept that. So she stays, broadcasts, helps, dies someday probably. But dies having helped thousands survive who would have died without her. That's worth dying for. Maybe the only thing worth dying for. Helping others live. 4:52 a.m. Dawn approaches. The eastern sky lightens. First gray, then pink, then orange. The sun rises on day 4. The city that was is gone. The city that is remains, damaged, dangerous, divided between living and dead. but functioning after fashion. Survivor communities defend territory. Safe zones protect thousands. Trading posts enable commerce. Radio broadcasts coordinate everything. It's not civilization as it was, but it's civilization as it is now, reduced, adapted, evolved, surviving. David wakes at 5:03 a.m., 43 minutes before broadcast begins. He checks batteries. 92% charge. Perfect. He checks fuel reserves. Generator is dry, as expected. They're solar dependent now. Limited broadcast hours. 8 per day instead of 24, but sustainable indefinitely. He accepts the limitation. Works within constraints. That's survivor mentality. Don't demand what you can't have. Maximize what you do have. They have solar power. They have radio equipment. They have information network. They have purpose. That's enough. That's more than most people have. They're fortunate even in apocalypse. Perspective matters. Sarah wakes at 5:17 a.m. She and David prepare for broadcast. Coffee from reserves. Rations for breakfast. Equipment check. Communication protocols reviewed. They're professionals. They prepare thoroughly. Broadcasting isn't casual conversation. It's coordinated information distribution. Multiple communication channels monitored. News aggregated. Tactical guidance developed. Community coordination facilitated. It's complex operation requiring continuous attention. They're good at it. Natural talent plus intensive practice under extreme conditions equals expertise. They've broadcast 76 hours over 72 hours. They're emergency broadcasters now. Not regular DJs. Different skill set. Different purpose. Different meaning. 5:34 a.m. David reviews overnight developments from military radio traffic. Sports complex held but at severe cost. Northside improved defenses. Multiple communities reported successful defense. Infected activity decreased overnight compared to previous nights. Degradation timeline holding. Day 1 infected at 72 hours are severely impaired. Day 2 infected at 48 hours show moderate impairment. Day 3 infected at 24 hours are still dangerous, but less so than fresh infected. The trend continues favorably. Time remains a lie. Every hour survived makes survival easier. Compounding returns on endurance. Sarah reviews overnight communications from Survivor Network. 37 organized communities still operational. Combined population 8,200. Up from 8,000 yesterday. Growth through consolidation. Small groups joining larger ones, strength in numbers. The communities are learning, adapting, surviving more efficiently. They'll probably all survive to day 12 when military resupply arrives and infected degrade below critical threat. Probably. Nothing is guaranteed. But probability improves daily. 5:47 a.m., 13 minutes until broadcast. David and Sarah position themselves at microphones. Test equipment. Volume levels correct. Battery power adequate. Backup systems ready. They're professional, prepared, competent. They'll broadcast information that keeps thousands alive. They'll coordinate communities that defend themselves. They'll maintain hope when hope seems irrational. They'll be voice of humanity refusing to surrender to apocalypse. That's their role, their purpose, their meaning. It's enough reason to continue. Enough justification for risking lives daily. They help others survive. What better purpose exists? 5:54 a.m., 6 minutes until broadcast. David looks at Sarah. She looks at him. No words necessary. They've worked together for 72 hours under conditions that would break most people. They trust each other completely. Know each other's strengths and weaknesses. Compensate for each other's gaps. Their team, partnership, maybe friends, definitely allies. Bound by shared experience, by common purpose, by mutual dependence. When society collapses, bonds form quickly. Intensity creates intimacy. They'll probably know each other for rest of their lives. However long lives last, days, weeks, months, years. However long, they'll remember this. Remember surviving together. Remember broadcasting through apocalypse. Remember being voice of hope in darkness. 5:59 a.m., 1 minute until broadcast. David positions notes. Sarah checks monitoring equipment. Both take deep breath. Prepare mentally for 4 hours of continuous emergency broadcasting. It's exhausting work, psychologically demanding, emotionally draining, but necessary. People depend on them. 137,000 survivors need information, need coordination, need hope. David and Sarah provide it. That's their contribution, their gift, their sacrifice. They broadcast so others survive. 6 a.m. Day 4 begins. The microphone goes live. David speaks. This is 98.3 FM, Outbreak FM. David Morgan here. It's 6 a.m. on day 4 of the outbreak. If you're listening, you survived 72 hours. You're in the survivor category now. Not lucky, not temporarily alive, a survivor. And today we continue surviving together. Day 4 begins now. The broadcast resumes. The information flows. The survivor network reconnects. Day 4 begins. 9 days until recovery threshold. 6 days until military help. The countdown continues. Survival remains possible. Hope remains alive. The fight continues. And somewhere in the city, 137,000 survivors hear David's voice, hear Sarah's voice, and know they're not alone. Know someone is fighting alongside them. No information is available. No coordination is possible. No hope exists. That matters. Maybe matters more than anything else. Connection, community, common cause. Humanity refusing to die quietly. Fighting, surviving, enduring, together. Day 4 begins. The apocalypse continues, but so does resistance. So does humanity. So does hope. And that's worth broadcasting.